Yashodanandana Brajaganarandana Yashodanandana Brajaganarandana Jamuna Tira Vanantari Jamuna Tira Vanantari Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Yashodanandana Brajaganarandana Yashodanandana Brajaganarandana Jamuna Tira Vanantari Jamuna Tira Vanantari Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Jaya Vishupad Paramahamsa Pri Vrajagacharya Stokara Siddha Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Sirabai Charanaravind Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Iskandi Biti Founder Acharyas Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Namacharya Srila Hridas Thakur Ki Samaveta Bhakti Vrinda Ki Harinam Sankirtan Ki Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Dainitai Gaura Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and to Sri Gauranga, all glories to Sri Prabhupada Ki. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chaksurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Jita Parakamalam Sri Gurun Vaisnavam becomes destroyed practically to nil. And loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental song, becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samhitam Uttama Shloka Charitam Chakara Bhagavan Rishi Nishreya Sayalokasya Dhanyam Swasyayanam Mahat. This Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Grantaraj, the king of all Vedic literatures, is the literary incarnation of God. It is compiled by the incarnation of God, the Srila Vyasadeva. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Siva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Om Sarabhyaya Namaha. Om Sarabhyaya Namaha. Om Sarabhyaya Namaha. Mukam karoti vachalam tvangom langayate girim yatkripat maham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam yatkripat maham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna. Welcome to our morning Bhagavatam class. Continuing from yesterday, Canto number 1, chapter 16, which is entitled How Parikshit Received the Age of Kali. Of course, yesterday was a very special day, as we all know. It was Guru Purnima, and it was also Well, the devotees here celebrated the disappearance of His Holiness Bhakti Raghava Maharaj. Very nice program. I had opportunity to attend. And also, of course, it was the disappearance of Srila Sanatana Goswami. And as I was going through we had read the first 5 verses, means 26 to 30. And naturally, it was a long purport. We read through half the purport. So we will do, yesterday we recited 26. So that's Canto 1, Chapter 16, Text 27, which goes as follows. Jnanam Viraktir Aishwaryam Shauryam Tejo Balam Smriti Swatantriyam Kaushalam Kantir Dhairyam Mardavam Eva Cha Jnanam Viraktir Aishwaryam Chauryam Tejo Balam Smriti Swantantriyam Kaushalam Kantir Dhairyam Mardavam Evacha Jnanam Viraktir Aishwaryam Shauryam Tejo Balam Smriti Swatantriyam Kaushalam Kantir Dhairyam Mardavam Evacha Jnanam Viraktir Aishwaryam Shauryam Tejo Balam Smriti Swatantriyam Kaushalam Kantir Dhairyam Mardavam Evacha
Jnanam Viraktirashwaryam Shauryam Tejo Balam Smriti
Shauryam Tejo Balam Smriti
Swatantram Kaushalam Kanti
Swatantriyam Kaushalam Kanti
Dhairyam Mardamavevacha
Dhairyam Mardavamevacha Jnanam Viraktirashwaryam Shauryam Tejo Balam Smriti Swatantriyam Kaushalam Kanti Dhairyam Mardhavam Evacha
Jnanam Viraktir Aishwaryam
Jnanam Viraktir Aishwaryam
Shauryam Tejo Balam Smriti
Shauryam Tejo Balam Smriti
Swatantriyam Kaushalam Kanti
Swatantriyam Kaushalam Kanti
Dhairyam Mardhavam Evacha
Dhairyam Mardhavam Evacha Jnanam Viraktirashwaryam Shauryam Tejo Balam Smriti Swatantriyam Kaushalam Kanti Dhairyam Mardhavam Evacha
Jnanam Viraktir Aishwaryam
Jnanam Viraktirashwaryam
Shauryam Tejo Balam Smriti
Shauryam Tejo Balam Smriti
Swatantriyam Kaushalam Kanti Dhairyam Mardhavam Evacha
Jnanam Knowledge, self-realization. Viraktihi, the detachment from sense enjoyment. Aishwaryam, leadership,
leadership,
shauryam, chivalry, teja, influence, balam, to render possible that which is impossible, smritihi, to find one's proper duty, swatantriyam, not to depend on others, koshalam, dexterity in all activities, kantihi, beauty, dhairyam, freedom from disturbance, mardavam, kind-heartedness, eva, thus, cha, also. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. We'll read the full translation and then we will pick up from where we left off yesterday, more or less the middle of the purport. Translation to the text. In him, means Krishna, reside 1. Truthfulness, 2. Cleanliness, 3. Intolerance of another's unhappiness. Intolerance of another's unhappiness. 4. The power to control anger. 5. Self-satisfaction. 6. Straightforwardness. 7. Steadiness of mind. 8. Control of the sense organs. 9. Responsibility. 10. Equality. 11. Tolerance. 12. Equanimity. 13. Faithfulness. 14. Knowledge. 15. Absence of sense enjoyment. 16. Leadership. 17. Chivalry. 18. Influence. 19. The power to make everything possible. 20. The discharge of proper duty. 21. Complete independence. 22. Dexterity. 23. Fullness of all beauty. 24. Serenity. 25. Kind-heartedness. 26. Ingenuity. 27. Gentility. 28. Magnanimity. 29. Determination. 30. Perfection in all knowledge. 31. Proper execution. 32. Possession of all objects of enjoyment. 33. Joyfulness. 34. Immovability. 35. Fidelity. 36. Fame. 37. Worship. 38. Pridelessness. 39. Being as the personality of Godhead. 40. Eternity. And many other transcendental qualities which are eternally present and never to be separated from Him. That personality of Godhead, the reservoir of all goodness and beauty, Lord Sri Krishna, has now closed his transcendental pastimes on the face of the earth. In his absence, the age of Kali has spread its influence everywhere. So I am sorry to see this condition of existence. So we continue from I believe paragraph that begins with the 14th quality. Someone remember? I think, yes? Okay. So, yes, because, we had mentioned how we covered close to half of the qualities, there's 40. This is more or less half the purport. So, the 14th quality, knowledge, can be further extended into 5 subheadings, namely 1. Intelligence, 2. Gratefulness, 3. Power of understanding the circumstantial environments of place, object, and time, 4. Perfect knowledge of everything, and 5. Knowledge of the self. Only fools are ungrateful to their benefactors. The Lord, however, does not require benefit from anyone besides himself, because he is full in himself. Still, he feels benefited by the unalloyed services of his devotees. The Lord feels grateful to his devotees for such unsophisticated, unconditional service and tries to reciprocate it by rendering service, although the devotee also has no such desire in his heart. The transcendental service of the Lord is itself a transcendental benefit for the devotee, and therefore the devotee has nothing to expect from the Lord. On the assertion of the Vedic aphorism, Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma, we can understand that the Lord, by the omnipresent rays of his effulgence, called Brahmajyoti, is all pervading inside or outside of everything, like the omnipresent material sky, and thus he is also omniscient. As far as the beauty of the Lord is concerned, he has some special features that distinguish him from all other living beings. And over and above that, he has some special, attractive, beautiful features by which he attracts the mind of even Radharani, the supermost beautiful creation of the Lord. He is known, therefore, as Madana Mohan, or one who attracts the mind of even Cupid. Srila Jiva Goswami has scrutinizingly analyzed other transcendental qualities of the Lord and affirms that Lord Sri Krishna is the absolute supreme personality of Godhead, Parabrahman. He is omnipotent by his inconceivable energies, and therefore he is the Yogeshvara, or the supreme master of all mystic powers. Being the Yogeshvara, his eternal form is spiritual, a combination of eternity, bliss, and knowledge. Satchit Ananda. The devotee, the non-devotee. The non-devotee class cannot understand the dynamic nature of his knowledge because they are satisfied to reach up to the eternal form of knowledge. I'll read that again. The non-devotee class cannot understand the dynamic nature of his knowledge because they are satisfied to reach up to his eternal form of knowledge. What does that mean?
Probably the dynamic nature of knowledge is.
I mean, the first portion is okay.
Yeah.
The non-devotee cannot understand the dynamic nature of his knowledge because they are satisfied to reach up to his eternal form of knowledge.
So they have the Paramatma understanding. They don't have the personal understanding because they are not devotees. They just Paramatma is all-knowing, omniscient. But that's not the ultimate. It's just Sat and Chitta. They don't have the Anand realization.
Jnana will take us only till one portion of whatever Lord wants us to understand.
Maybe up to Brahma Jyoti.
Yeah, because
Up to Brahma.
Well, Brahman has only Satta potency. The Chitta knowledge potency in Paramatma. That's why I know it's referring to his eternal form of knowledge is Paramatma, all-knowing, omniscient. But they don't recognize him as person.
But Maharaj, my thing is, even if we want to understand Lord by Jnana, how much Lord wants to reveal to us, only that much will be done. And so without bhakti, it is as good as having envy upon people.
Yeah, whatever we try to attempt by ourselves is limited, obviously, and imperfect. But here, because they're satisfied to reach up to his eternal form of knowledge. So that means the chit, up to the chit level.
Yes.
Yeah. Sat Chit Ananda, Prabhupada
They
explained.
are called non-devotees.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's a bit challenging.
Jnanis,
So, yeah.
Gyanis.
Yeah.
Correct.
Only the Chitta.
who is
But
going for the Brahman realization.
Right. Yes.
Not
I
necessarily
mean, Brahma,
Chit.
Paramatma.
Paramatma.
But not necessarily, no. Paramatma is different here. He's mentioned the Yogeshwara for Paramatma, and then he goes down to the Jnanis. There is a differences. The sentence before this, that was about the
Param Brahma.
Now here we
being
go.
the Yogeshwara. And there, so that means
That's the nature of Gyanis.
Jnanis.
No. The sentence before, well, Sat, Chit, Ananda are the three levels of transcendental realization. Sat meaning eternity. And that generally refers to the Brahman realization. Aham Brahmasmi. Then Chit
Paramatma.
is Paramatma. Yeah. Brahmiti Paramatmiti Bhagavan. Yeah, iti sabjate. Okay, let's carry on here to not get too much entangled. Because they're, wow, non-devotees, huh? Because they are satisfied to reach up to his eternal form of knowledge. Means chit. Okay, all great souls aspire to be equal in knowledge with him. This means that all other knowledge is ever insufficient, flexible, and measurable, whereas the knowledge of the Lord is ever fixed and unfathomable. Srila Srila Goswami affirms in the Bhagavatam that although he was observed by the citizens of Dwarka every day, they were ever increasingly anxious to see him again and again. The living beings can appreciate the qualities of the Lord as the ultimate goal, but they cannot attain the status quo. That means we cannot become Krishna, is it? Superior. to Krishna. This material world is a product of the Mahatattva, which is a state of the Lord's dreaming condition in his yoga, nidra, mystic slumber in the cosmos ocean. And yet the whole creation appears to be a factual presentation of his creation. Different kind of, yeah. So in other words, from the Bhagavatam, we get what is meant to be the real standard. The real standard we can only understand by some understanding of the different qualities that Krishna possesses, as we're getting a little glimpse. These are just but a few of the unlimited qualities that Krishna possesses, and that's why he's all attractive, isn't it? Krishna is all attractive. Just like we become attracted to someone who displays different qualities. People are after rich men. People are after movie stars. People are after those who display different qualities. So when one actually becomes a devotee of Krishna by by cultivating this knowledge, especially knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, as one becomes purified in consciousness, one gradually displays, to some extent, some of these qualities. That's why in our Vaishnava Sampradaya, 26 qualities of a Vaishnava are enumerated. And of course, when we study the lives of different personalities, great devotees of the Lord, acharyas, then we see these different qualities nicely displayed. And therefore, this is what attracts, this is what is meant to attract. Just like yesterday it was very nice actually to hear the different presentations, the glorifications of the devotees at the Tirubhavtiti of His Holiness Bhakti Chari Maharaj, because different devotees had different associations, different experiences with Maharaj, and were sharing various memories. Thank you. It's still there. No, it's okay. Yeah. And I think it was at the beginning of the purport here somewhere. Yesterday we were reading how Prabhupada is, yes. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, he further breaks down, like there's a list of 40 qualities, and as we saw also here today, like we started with the 14th quality, which is knowledge, and that's broken down into like 5 subheadings. So I mean, all of these qualities can further be analyzed more and more in detail. Which means it becomes like unlimited in terms of the ever expanding qualities of the Lord. Of course, the most attractive feature of the Lord, and the most attractive feature naturally of his devotees, being that of bhakti or devotion. And and even though Krishna is described as the most attractive, he becomes attracted to bhakti or to devotional service. And there is that that eternal and ever-increasing competition, actually, between the Lord and his devotees, which is manifested, of course, in love. So it's like we have an eternity of time to uncover, to discover, and to begin appreciating all of these wonderful qualities of Krishna and of his devotees. And those are manifest at different times and all the time in different universes. Whenever Krishna, Advaitam Achyutam Anadim, Anantarupam, he manifests unlimited forms, unlimited pastimes. Our bliss or our ananda, our ananda will also be ever increasing. Anyone have any thoughts or questions? Yes.
When I was going through this list of qualities, it seems that many of the qualities listed over here are not even considered desirable in the contemporary world. For instance, you mentioned about United Nations. Like there's more emphasis on rights, like as opposed to duties. Like two things mentioned over here: responsibility, quality number 9. Number 20 is discharge of proper duties. But if you see, there's more. This is my rights, right? As opposed to duty. And
Right.
there is control of sense organs, but the emphasis more on enjoyment than controlling sense organs.
Right. Yes. Well, because those who are directing United Nations have not read the Bhagavatam, and probably most of them don't even know that the word dharma exists. I mean, they don't know about the basics. So that's why anything that is man-made, practically speaking, whatever, especially now, at this particular stage of development in Kali Yuga, we have become so far removed, isn't it, from Shastra, from Dharma, which is important for us to understand, actually, as devotees, that this is a relatively recent, although Kali Yuga started like 5,000 years ago, but this this is also mentioned as part of knowledge, understanding about Kala Desha Patra, time, place, and circumstance. So we need to understand that there was a major break in tradition, a major transformation in history, which took place only about 200 years ago. The French Revolution and the Industrial Revolution. Both of them had and continue to have major impact. And it's important for us. As a matter of fact, Prabhupada was very interesting in one discussion with one devotee who was kind of making a general statement that, well, it's always been like that. And Prabhupada corrected him. No. He said it's quite recent. Yeah. It's only since about 200 years. That's why it's a little important to understand a little history, or to have, yeah. So, Hare Krishna. What happened, the the major problem, and we're still suffering from this right now actually, and until, it's like, unless a doctor understands the root of the problem, he cannot actually cure the disease. So it's important for us to understand what is the root of our present existing problem. Of course, there are many factors, but this is a major factor. The main thrust of the French Revolution was to actually reject two things which are absolutely essential in the context of Vedic culture, in the context of any society or civilization that wants to actually be successful. Because at that time, if we study a little bit of history, there were two major powerful forces in society. One was monarchy, and the other one was the church. Unfortunately, in both cases, those who were leaders at that time were abusing their power. And therefore, that's the whole reason why the French Revolution came about. So in other words, that gave birth to what is called modern sociology. Very interesting topic, actually, because modern sociology is basically stating that from now on, real knowledge, actual knowledge, is only what we can see and perceive. Right. This is today's modern way of thinking. So in other words, what was rejected, for those who know a little bit about Vedic culture, we rejected actually the Brahminical culture and the Kshatriya. We rejected the two most important leaders within society, and we are devoid of those two leaders today, and therefore Srila Prabhupada, knowing well the root of the problem, wanted to re-establish, to begin with, Brahminical culture, Brahmanas, who in turn, if properly situated, would be able to re-establish the Kshatriya culture, and then the rest would follow. So this is where we are now in terms of what direction we should be taking within our society, because it is not by accident that Prabhupada spoke so extensively about Varnashram, because Varnashrama is that dimension or aspect that will allow for society to become corrected, for society to be properly re-established. And I was mentioning this a few days ago, this statement made by Srila Prabhupada, that one of the objectives is to bring a complete overhaul in society and to revert to the system, God-given system, God-created system of Varna and Ashrama, which is only possible when we will have both qualified Brahmanas and qualified Kshatriyas. So it's a big challenge, because from the beginning of Kali Yuga, that's where the problem has been also, between Kshatriyas and this can only begin to happen when Brahmanas and Kshatriyas will be trained in the same Gurukula, or where they will have a similar type of training, and they'll be able to respect and understand their respective nature and responsibility, both being absolutely essential for society to properly function, isn't it? So it's like society cannot really be re-established as it is meant to be, as it is described throughout the pages of the Bhagavatam, unless we understand what what took place recently, and what Srila Prabhupada envisioned, and how he wanted things to actually take place, for which Gurukula is essential, for which Varnashram College is essential, and for which the, we could say, manifestation or the demonstration of all of this will be when we are able to re-establish Vedic villages, where those living within those villages, within those communities, will be able to actually live according to the tenets of our Shastra. Yes.
Vedic times also we can read that there had been abuse of power.
Yes.
And when the Kshatris were not properly doing the Brahmanas, even in the story of Venu,
King Venu. Yes.
Venu it was.
Vena.
So, Vena, yeah.
King Vena.
So here also we can understand that this revolutions which happened, French Revolution, either we can say Russian revolutions, they all happened because there had been extensive abuse of power.
Yes.
By the church and by the Brahmins and Kshatriyas administrators.
Absolutely.
So
yes.
then they said
Enough.
socialism.
Yeah.
Enough is enough. We
Correct.
want equality.
Yes.
So we do understand that now we are in that pathetic situation of that we don't have monarchy. Even the monarchy we should.
Well, when you say we do understand this, do we understand this?
Theoretically, theoretically we do understand. That's why we are sitting here.
Right. Yeah. Right.
The setup of our nation.
Right.
How practically we can foresee, like even in a society, in a religious society, we should call that we are studying, understanding, but not able to implement because of the lack of.
We have a whole society which is totally going in the opposite direction and making it very difficult.
We are also agreeing to socialism. Here we don't have, in our society also we have got all this equality and all.
Right.
In practice, I'm speaking about the practical term.
Right.
We may have leaders and all,
That is
but
true. It's no, because see, the society is the main purpose of, one of the purpose of Varnashram that has not been focused so much by society that Prabhupada established, not to be accepted by the world. It's just become a worldly religion of some sort.
Right. Yes.
So that's where my question is, that how in practical terms we can start doing those small steps, because otherwise it looks like a very far reaching goal.
You already answered your question.
Maharaj, the root cause of why we are not able to create Brahmanas or the elite people, at least what I have observed in the ISKCON part, is that somewhere we are only focusing on the Dharma Shastras.
We're focusing on Dharma Shastras.
Yeah, only. Because
I think we're totally neglecting Dharma.
Yes. No, means what I'm trying to tell is that the outer cup, the buildings, like the Dharma Shastra, the Gita and Bhagavatam, now even like I'll give you one.
Gita Bhagavatam is not Dharma Shastra.
Means the essence, like the topmost of the bhakti part we are focusing on. My understanding that is.
Okay.
Because now, for example, now Prabhupada also spoke about the 24 elements, about how to perceive the world. Where he took that from was the Chanakya Pandits of the Tarka Shastra, he took that from. And all the subjects which, like when I went through at least a little bit of Bhagavatam, I realized Prabhupada in the Vedic science, he had more knowledge than more than 15, 20, 30 subjects. Like of the Rasa Shastra, he had taken from the gold part. Then the Vedic Shastras, how to manage the cows and other things which was there. In the Bhagavatam, the essence is given how to lead the life. But if we want to understand how to go back to the basics, like in the minute details, then we need to go back to the other Shastras, where we are saying only like this book is sufficient for us to become
when
Brahmanas.
when you were mentioning a few minutes ago Dharma Shastras, you were referring to the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam.
Yes.
So generally, Dharma Shastras doesn't mean the Bhagavatam or the yeah. Now, these are Bhakti Shastra, we could say. You know, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, they go and they focus primarily on the essence, which is Bhakti, pure devotional service. Of course, there's so many other subjects that are covered, but there are Dharma Shastras which deal more with society, organization, yeah. And so there is an imbalance within our society,
Yes.
and in terms of devotees' understanding, which can also be more possibly easily understood in terms of what we call spiritual swadharma and material swadharma.
Yes.
You see, because dharma needs to be understood in these two levels or two features. And generally, we like to quote certain verses that especially focus on the spiritual swadharma. Kalo naseva 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 bhaktir aneta, you know, Hare, so the chanting of the holy name and bhakti, like that, which is there, of course, but if we don't simultaneously understand the other aspect in terms of what is given in the Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, also in terms of varnashrama, this is dealing especially with the material swadharma, then we allow an imbalance to be there. We actually create that imbalance by overemphasizing and neglecting. See, we cannot, we are in the material world. We have this material body. Every day after Bhagavatam class, we generally have breakfast. You know, somebody has to cook that, somebody has to grow that food, etc.
Yes.
And if we're not paying attention to that, we end up what we have today.
Yes.
Where, you know, even us as devotees and in our temples all over the world, we're offering what we should not be offering to the Lord.
Right.
And we're giving that to our devotees, and we're wondering why our devotees are disturbed and not healthy, etc.
Even the my intelligence is not.
Yeah.
We may say that we are
Yes.
eating prasadam, but then it's no.
Right. Correct. Yeah. So there is a link and a direct connection between these two aspects, and that's why Prabhupada gave, you know, I mean, normally when somebody is about to leave his body, you know, things that are important come to mind. So as we know, one of the very important things Prabhupada spoke about was varnashram, just 2 weeks before leaving his body. You know, pointing out how that the whole Vedic culture is to bring people at least to the mode of goodness, for which varnashram is necessary.
So to your point, why we are not successful, this is my understanding. I've been also studying about this quite a bit. The you say, but varnashram won't be established by ISKCON. It will never not happen.
Yes.
It's the first thing.
That
The second thing,
we understood. That's why.
so it has to be a grassroots movement. And if you see any kind of social revolution, the way it works is you need to convince and first and convince at least 15 to 20% of the population who is extremely vocal. And then you need to wait for the time where the societies goes through the cyclic collapse. Right? So
for the period.
we until that, you know, when that collapse happens, right? Politically, militarily, everything. Then you have that 20% of the people who are extremely convinced, they are vocal. Those are the early adopters which will take it. So it's three phases. People who are early adopters who are willing to take risk. Then there are mainstream adopters who want to do it, but they won't take the risk. So when
behind those.
yeah, so then there are laggards who never want to do it, but they've been forced to do it in the end. So that's how the society will change.
But here in this point, the only thing which I feel is we don't need the 15% population. If you take all the, whatever I have understood, I met all the other Sampradaya Brahmanas also, they say that one Brahmana in the entire line, he prepares 10 Kshatriyas. One Kshatriya takes care of, he gives security to 100 Vaishyas, and one Vaishya should be able to employ 1000 Shudras. So if you take this ratio, it's just that 1% of population must do their game. The rest, and even Britishers who conquered India, there were only 70,000 soldiers. It was never big. Like what I believe is there are no weak soldiers. It is only non-present of capable leaders to influence the ordinary man. So 1% population is sufficient.
Even less than 1%. We just need Krishna.
That was explanation of revolution actually.
Yeah,
How the
revolution.
revolution.
Revolution. It is a social Prabhupada portrayed as
Well,
social
we all know that we are very close to collapse.
collapse. True.
So
All indicators are
Right.
Yes, yes.
Maharaj, that gave me the reply what you explained, because those are the basis. Now, how we can bring the leadership to that understanding, because uh, first of all, if we want to do anything, like even if you want to build a building, you first start speaking of thinking and then speaking about that. Without that sankalpa and without that manifestation, can't bring any gross thing in the.
I give you a small example. Many years ago,
Yes.
even before Namhata was established, which was in year 1979, Radha Govinda Maharaj, who was a brahmachari, Radha Govinda Maharaj from Bihar, at that time was a young brahmachari, and he was fired up, preacher, become a devotee, and he wanted to convince people from his village. So what he did, every day, he set up a place for speaking on the Bhagavatam while people were working in the field. We had like speakers. And he was reading from the 5th canto of the Bhagavatam about the hellish planets. He made hundreds of devotees. So I have to get the message across. Whatever message, if it is repeatedly shared and promoted, so propaganda. And of course, in our case, we're talking about we have a society, then we have to become more vocal in the sense of bringing up these subjects. Just like, for example, we're planning to have a symposium, Daiva Varnashram symposium here during the month of Kartik, to speak on certain aspects, let's say, of Varnashrama. So we need social media for the general, let's say, rank and file devotees, and also somehow that needs to go to our different leaders.
At least ISKCON is doing a very great work in terms of when you compare to the other sampradayas, because the acceptability of the outsiders or acceptability what Prabhupada has created, like a family that anybody can come inside and it is more welcoming, that is not in Madhvas. So that has also served as a disadvantage for the delusion part. Because in Madhvas, they're able to protect the bloodlines, they're able to protect the sampradayas, they're able to protect all these things because the acceptability is very less.
Yes.
But here, yes, the acceptability is more, but the other peripherals are not. But because ISKCON is already focused so much on the preaching part, my understanding is the other half, which we focus on the Garbha Samskaras. Because 75%, at least what I heard from the few devotees that I met who are in the higher thing, they all said that Garbha Samskaras play the most important role, which influences the person to create.
Yes.
That's close to 70%, 75% of the mindset that gets built comes from Garbha Samskara.
Right.
The 25% remaining runs on the Gurukul aspect and creating the right kind of people, getting the right kind of gurus to, give them the other knowledge for them to run the world. So if we focus more on the couples who are already in the ISKCON who are devotees, we can emphasize on Garbha Samskaras plus. After the Garbha Samskaras happen, when the woman is pregnant, idealistically they must get association of devotees sitting in ashrams, their food habits taken care,
Yes.
and their medical part. And I also heard recently that the umbilical cord, especially for the Kshatriyas, the umbilical cord suddenly, cut using scissors and metal, will destroy the Kshatra guna of the baby, which is the delivery does not happen. The umbilical cord is just cut with a scissor.
Right.
generally they use hot water and they use this bamboo stick purposefully. It was used so that the baby slowly, without pain, the kshatra guna of that baby gets retained.
Yeah.
So if we are able to focus more on the garbha samskaras, which is the on emphasizing the couples to produce more good children, then the other aspect of gurukuls added, then I think
That's a very good point. Definitely, that is very. Maybe in the last couple of years, that point comes up more and more, I would say, and needs to be highlighted, because there's a definite connection, obviously, that if we want to have strong and powerful preachers, then we need to attract very high-level, pure souls, and that is only possible when the parents actually follow the various samskaras, beginning with the Garbhodana samskara. I fully agree, and we need more devotees to, very systematically, just like this point you're making about the umbilical cord. These are, all of these things are actually in the Shastra, and unless we have people who actually know in detail these points, then we end up doing things that, out of ignorance, that are actually, going against the principles of dharma, ultimately. So that requires that we have actual, very learned brahmanas who can share this knowledge, this information. And yes, the householders have a major role and responsibility to play within the society.
And also one more thing, what I understood was, even brahmanas to an extent we can train them, but kshatriyas, they have to be born. It is not possible to train kshatriyas.
They have to be born.
Yes. Qualities of a kshatriya is by birth. That is what I got the knowledge when I met these people. They say that even the brahmanas, to an extent, by association of pure duty, they can develop few qualities. At least it will, I'm not saying 100%, but to an extent. But the kshatriya spirit has to be by birth.
Both are actually by birth initially, because those are the basis. You can say, if you go scientifically, there will be always inclination this way or that way. Either somebody is going towards intelligence, it means he has got the mind of that one. Either the person is more, strong and vocal and leadership. So those qualities definitely, they are, as you mentioned, why Garbhodana Sanskar was needed, because, and why the marriages were happening according to the Gotra, according to the, because they were bringing the qualities.
Yes.
And those with those qualities, when then fine-tuned, then you can more bring out those, like even Bhishma Dev, he was a Kshatriya, but he was very intelligent as well. He was one of those most intelligent people among the time, because he was the one who calculated the whole astronomy, astrology, he knew.
Right.
So Kshatriyas, they also, it's not like they only fight. They have to be intelligent.
Rajrishi.
Right.
Yeah, they're different.
Right.
Right.
So those qualities,
Same.
they have to be from the birth.
Yes.
Very much. And that's what Srila Prabhupada is mentioning, that even in West you have, it's not like it's lost and gone. No, it is there. The qualities are there. It just need to be revived, brought, and then accordingly, what other day we were talking that in our villages probably we should start that the Kshatriya girl, lady should be Kshatriya if we want to get it married with a
Kshatriya boy.
Then the Kula will be re-established. Otherwise, it's quite a lot of mixture. And then
physical traits.
Right.
Yeah.
Physical traits.
At the same time, we're not advocating Varna by birth.
No,
exactly.
We are definitely not advocating.
It's not hard bomb.
But
right.
We
but,
are just understanding the science of that, and then using it so that we have so-called, you can say, more inclined to Kshatriya or more inclined to Vaishyas.
It's very interesting how actually Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Sadhana Toshani, when he talks about the need and the importance, the absolute necessity, one of the most important duties of brahmanas, elderly brahmanas in the village, that before a young boy reaches the age of 15 and has to be, yeah. And then there's a whole discussion on this actually, where, because it's like a presented in a question and answer format. So somebody asks a question regarding the change of Varna, and then Bhaktivinoda Thakur answers that, well, if somebody is born in a Brahmana family or a Kshatriya family, whatever, we generally will assume that he is having the qualities of that, and it's only if we observe something radically different, then it may change. And he speaks about even, upgrading somebody who might be, let's say, from a Vaishya background or family, but if he displays qualities, natural qualities of a Brahmana, then he could, yeah. And he also speaks the opposite. If somebody is born in a family of Brahmana but displays qualities of a Vaishya, then he gives, of course, a 2-year time period, so that it's not done abruptly and without proper, assessment, etc., like that. So that's a whole science, and that's something that we want to introduce here, actually, in our Gurukul, that by the time a boy reaches, by the time he is ready for Varnashram college, his Varna should be established. Because once he enters Varnashram college, what faculty, what he will study, because Varna determines the education, isn't it? Varna determines the education, and Varna determines the ashram also. So therefore, Varna identification, knowledge of Varna, is very important, and there's the guidelines and whatnot are given in Shastra and explained also by our acharyas. And I think that brings us to an end. Yeah. Jai Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki. Hare Krishna. Yes. Tomorrow is
One of the things also want to discuss, see